I'm getting all kinds of great stories from you guys on my video on aging with training. You guys are telling me how you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and you're still kicking ass, which is awesome. Some of you have been doing it all your life. Some of you are coming back after a hiatus, maybe an injury or a surgery. Awesome stories. Love reading these things. Thank you so much for chiming them in. Now, the general idea of that video was that as you get older, our ability to handle and recover from chronic stress decreases. So we should be adjusting our training or paying attention to things like joint mobility, flexibility, recovery, all these things maybe a little bit better. Because I fully believe that no matter what, we should be kicking ass late in life. 60, 70, 80 years old, you should be doing pull-ups. You should still be barefoot water skiing. You should be doing a lot of great things later in life. But some of you got the backward message on that one, which I think is kind of funny because that was exactly the opposite of what I was trying to say, where I was suggesting once you hit age or you get older, it all goes downhill and you're kind of screwed, which I abhor that idea. That's a terrible mentality to have. But some of you got that takeaways from that video, which is interesting how interpretation works sometimes. But there's a couple things I want to address. Number one is this age is just a number thing. That idea is just crazy talk. Age is always a factor in our training for everybody. I mean, if age doesn't matter, fine. Buy a used car for full retail price. I got a car with 160,000 miles on it. I'll sell it to you for $30,000. If age doesn't matter, give me a call. But I get what you're saying with that. It's like, no, you should still be kicking ass late in life. Totally agree. But we can't ignore the fact that age is a factor. It is a variable. It may not assign you to the lazy boy recliner, but we do need to pay attention to this. Now, there's two different ways that we approach training in life. There's what I call the young and dumb approach, and then there's the experienced and smart approach, not old, let's say. Now, the young and dumb approach is what a lot of guys who find they need to make a lot of changes in their training as they get older originally did, myself included. Okay? The young and dumb approach is basically beat yourself up, and that's the way to get in shape. Go hard, go home, no pain, no gain. Just basically beat yourself to a pulp as much as you can. See how much stress you can withstand, and that's your game plan. Who are chiming in saying, screw you, I'm in my 70s, I'm still kicking ass, always have been, always will be. So you guys, you got the experienced and smart approach. And one way or another, I don't know how, maybe you had a good mentor growing up, you had a coach, someone taught you how to do this, whatever it is, you knew what you were doing from the day one. Now guys like me, young and dumb, right? Eventually that catches up with us. You cannot just keep beating yourself to a pulp and expect to bounce back smiling your entire life. Now, when we get to a certain age and we're starting to feel like we're breaking down, for me that was like 30, we attribute that to age. You know, it's like, oh, now I'm 40, now I'm 50, whatever. It's not age. It's because you've been doing the young and dumb approach for 20 years and that stuff builds up, okay? And then we say, well, maybe I need to pay attention to sleep and recovery and joint health and mobility and all these other things. And we attribute it to aging. But what aging doesn't cause these problems. You know, my knees didn't start bothering me because I turned 30. My knees were bothering me because I had very dysfunctional movement patterns in my legs for 20 years, and then they were catching up with me. So we fall into this idea of, well, now I'm older, I've got to train better because I'm older. No, you got to train better, period. You always need to train very well. It's just age has exposed those problems that you always had. So that's why, training like, quote, an old man, eventually we figure this stuff out, or we quit. It's one or the other, which is really bad. One of my biggest nightmares is being that guy at the bar drinking about his glory days, about how, oh, I used to be able to do these things, but now I can't because I'm over such and such an age. When we train better, it doesn't matter what age you are, because every guy like me who starts finally learning how to train better says the same thing. Oh, I wish I learned this stuff when I was 20 or 30 or in my teenage years. I would have kicked so much more butt. So it's not about age. It's about how well are you training. And if you haven't been focusing on that, you will have to sooner or later. And if you always have been, awesome, great, keep kicking ass. Drop me more stories down below. I love reading about them. If you're not here, check out more videos here on how we're going to train smarter, because that's the whole point of the Red Delta Project, is training better, not always just harder. Be fit, live free.